Opinion, that's typically because of two things. One, people who get themselves into a problem typically do so unintentionally. So if you cause a problem for yourself and you didn't do it on purpose, then how are you actually going to know how to get out of it? A lot of people don't understand the best outcome in a situation, and that's also because of the second reason. The second reason is typically people are too close to their problems to be able to find the best logical solution. So when you're in the situation and you feel that emotion, you're not going to be making the best logical decisions because you're going to do what feels right in that moment. Unfortunately, what's right now is not going to typically be what you think is going to be right 2 or 3 weeks from today. So one of the biggest things, guys, to be a good problem solver, you have to learn how to change your perspective. And that's not easy to do. It's not going to happen overnight. It's something you're going to have to work on days in, days out, months and months, years and years. And over time, you're going to learn how to upgrade your thinking. But it's so important to learn how to do so because typically the best problem solvers are the people that see the highest levels of income. You got to learn how to solve problems to make money, right? Most of the problem solvers in the world, those are the bigger positions because a lot of people can't solve problems. When we talk about 97% of the world is making less than a certain amount every single year, right? That top 3%, the six-figure, 250 plus, they're solving the problems for the other 97%. Does that make sense? So upgrade your thinking. If you don't learn how to change your perspective, you're never going to get any better. So one thing I put down is champions raise their level of consciousness by studying how the world class creates wealth. So I encourage you guys to study how top performers, whether it's in our industry or in our office or other agencies or different walks of life. You know, I sent that thing in the group me about, the guy who came up with Starbucks failed 242 times. You're going to learn and read about so many underdog stories on the road to success. So many people that faced unbelievable adversity that still found a way to push through and achieve their dreams. All right, so you got to study these people because if you don't, all you're ever going to have is the wisdom and understanding of yourself at your own current age. Right? Learn from genetics. Learn from other people who went through similar experiences as you did and achieved success after doing so. That's the best way to learn. If you wait to make your own mistakes, if you rely only on your own wisdom, then you got to rely on experience. And the problem with experience is that means you got to go through some shit. Does that make sense? Yeah. It sucks. Why go through it yourself when there's somebody else willing to mentor you who's been on that same path and has already achieved that outcome that you're looking for? So make sure we're studying other people's mistakes. Don't be stubborn. All right, stubborn is not a good characteristic. Learn from people around you who are achieving success at what it is you're trying to accomplish greatness at. And remember, a problem solver, guys, you cannot solve a problem at the level of consciousness in which it was created. This is why we need to upgrade our thinking and start to learn how to do things a little bit differently. Ayn Rand, a philosopher, says, wealth is the product of a man's capacity to think. Wealth is a product of a man's capacity to think. So many people become money hungry and money driven that they forget to realize that money's just an effect. It's not the cause. All right, money's not what you should be focusing on. If you learn how to upgrade the cause, you're going to begin to change the effect. So what I mean when I say that is if you start focusing solely on income, then you're always going to have income issues. That's going to become your problem. If you learn how to change how you perceive things and your perspective on things, then by working on yourself and becoming a better version of who you are, the outcome is going to be you're just going to see more income. Right? The better you become, the better your outcome's going to be. If you focus just on the money portion, you're not developing yourself. So what that means is at some point in time, even if you see a lot of success financially by focusing on money, what the only difference is going to be whether you make $30,000 a year or $3 million a year, you're still going to burn through that money. You're going to burn through it because you didn't develop yourself at all. So develop yourself first, guys. That's one of the biggest things that I want you guys to get from this. And the best example I have for this is a little bit about the lottery mentality, not in the typical sense that we typically speak about here. But one of my old friends, used to call him Money Mike. All right, Money Mike Constantini. So he actually worked with our company for a while. His dad's very successful, owns a bunch of delis. And he told me a story once that I felt was extremely profound. About 27 years ago, when Mike's parents owned their first deli, his mom used to close out one night a week. So they would close at around 10 o'clock. So when the mom was closing, what she would do is anytime the lottery hit a certain amount, what she would do is she would buy one ticket for herself and one for his dad. Right? So just 2 lottery tickets they purchased anytime the lottery got big to a certain point. What ended up happening is one of the employees who was closing with her wanted to get a lottery ticket. So in Delaware, he's from Delaware, the lottery has to close by 9:45. That's the deadline. The draw is shut. You can't do anything about it. So she bought her 2 tickets, and at 9:46, one of the employees came up to her and said, "Is it too late for me to buy a lottery ticket?" And she said, "Yeah, the draw's already shut." And then she saw the girl was frustrated, so she's like, "You know what? You can have one of my tickets." All right, so she gives the girl that ticket. The girl ends up hitting on that ticket for $5 million. All right, hits on this ticket for $5 million friggin' dollars. Quits the next day and elects for the way that they used to do it back then. You could take it as a lump sum, or you would get it once a month for the next 25 years. Right? So this person has been collecting on this money for 25 years. So good for her. She made a great amount of income. But what blew my mind in this story, when Mike used to work with various agencies, and this was back in 2014, he came into my office once and started laughing his ass off. And I'm like, "What's so funny?" He goes, "Dude, you're not going to believe this." He tells me the whole story. And he goes, "And that same girl walked into my dad's deli today and asked for her job back." And asked for her job back. Those 25 years, that $5 million she received, she blew the whole freaking thing. Why? Because poor thinkers aren't going to learn how to do anything smart with their money. Bottom line, guys, if you give people operating out of middle-class consciousness a $1 million opportunity, they're still going to find a way to make it back to the middle class. Still going to find a way. And part of that's because they have a limited self-image to what they think about themselves. You got to watch your self-image there. All right? If she felt like she was a middle-class person, she did middle-class things because she never worked on herself, she never achieved anything great. All right? So middle-class consciousness is what most people are born into. World-class consciousness is what's possible. Nobody's born into being a world-class thinker. That's something that's acquired. That's developed over time. All right? But, one thing I like bringing up is if you get out of bed this morning and you went to work because you wanted to, then you're in control of your money. If you went to work because you had to, then money's in control of you. This is what I mean with cause and effect. All right? You're being controlled by money if you're only here because you're forced to be here. You don't have another option. And people who are controlled by money, the effect of that is lack of money. The cause is thinking. If you change your thinking, you'll get more money. If you continue to be somebody who's only here because you're forced to be here, then you're not going to see any more money. That's always going to be your problem. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, so with that said, last couple things closing out. Where you feel most comfortable reflects your self-image and most likely your current status. So where you feel most comfortable reflects your self-image and most likely your current status. If you want to become wealthier, again, begin by raising your self-image. Upgrade your self-talk. If all you do is chase money, then you're never going to have money. You're never going to feel a sense of purpose. You're never going to feel like you're accomplishing anything great. Reality is, guys, the difference between being successful and unsuccessful, or being a world-class performer or a middle-class performer, it has nothing to do with reality. It's all about your perception. It's in the mind of the performer. It's the person who's out there day in and day out. What are you focused on? Are you a positive person? Are you trying to make a change in your life and the people around you? Do you have a strong why? Start thinking like a world-class achiever. Again, change your mindset. You're going to change your life, and it's not going to happen overnight. But the most important thing for you guys to start to do is get some confidence. It's getting hot up here. You got to get a little bit of confidence. All right, got to get some confidence. You got to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how great you are. All right, what I want you guys to do is learn how to become the hero.
So I turn the music back on. Is this my birthday present?
This is your birthday present. I want you guys to learn how to become the hero in your own story. If I can get this off. That's it. Get that confidence. All right? Focus on becoming a better version of yourself. If you want to make more money, if you want to have more purpose, if you're looking for satisfaction, you got to search within yourself first. All right? It's not going to happen by focusing on finances. It's not going to happen by thinking about where you are right now versus where it is that you want it to be at this point in your life. All right? Take every day one step at a time and understand that it's always about the process. Anything that we talk about here, anytime we play a video, anytime we have a guest speaker, you hear things like process over premium. Process over product. Work on developing yourself first, and the outcome is going to fix itself. All right, if you spend majority of your time investing into you, there is no better investment that you can ever make than one into yourself. So think about that. Focus on that, guys, and learn how to become your very own superhero in your story.